9 o'clock, I'm going to open up the August 15th work session. Commissioner Chown is at another meeting today. He'll be calling in later, so I'll run the meeting as chair. Please silence and shut off your cell phones if you would at this time. And is there any additions or deletions to the agenda, Denise?
We have one deletion, our 9 o'clock harmful algae bloom policy.
Okay. And another thing is our Wednesday meeting is canceled for tomorrow, so items today are for action or consideration possibly.
Correct.
All right, with that, please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
With that, Commissioner, and with tomorrow's meeting being canceled, I think it'd be appropriate to ask for any public comment at this time before I attend an item. So is there any public comment at this time, being our Wednesday meeting?
I would like to talk on an issue, but I'd like for it to be after the rest of the agenda is cleared, because it may take a little while
At your
work session portion.
Okay, at the end of the meeting,
If that's okay.
I don't have a problem with letting public comment come in at the end.
Public comment, take
Okay.
when you can.
All right. So with that, our first timed item is 9:10. So Mr. Greer, we're going to hold off on that just a little bit in case anybody else is coming. We'll wait until the 9:10. So we'll move on down. We'll pick up our first non-timed item. That's a juvenile crime prevention IGA. Jake, so that's you.
What that is, that's a grant that we wrote, we being myself and the mentoring program, Kathy Miles. We presented that to the Oregon Department of Education. It's for some JCP monies. This is the monies that used to go
JCP, can you explain the acronym?
Juvenile Crime Prevention dollars. These are monies that used to filter through Commission on Children and Families. When that sunsetted, the juvenile departments took that upon themselves, or it was given to the juvenile departments to take on. So we continue to work with programs in the community to fund those programs through utilizing the juvenile crime prevention dollars. So as it says, it's $45,000 for 2 years. So that's about $22,500 a year. The county retains 10% of that for administrative costs. So the way that works, and the money is sent out to the mentoring program, is they, every 3 months at the end of the quarter, they send me stats and data. I input it into the computer system and send it off to the Oregon Department of Education, and they cut us a check. And then once the check's deposited, then I review the AP and get them everything.
So the 10% administrative, that's for handling the money and also taking the data. Do you do any proofing of the data for standards or anything?
It's a standard. The juvenile crime prevention is an assessment that the mentoring program does, and they have a data entry program that they enter in all the assessments into, so all that's validated. What they get to me is the number of assessments, racial breakdowns, economical breakdowns, number of reassessments, number of new assessments, number of new kids into the program. So they give me those numbers, and then they correlate it to the Oregon Department of Education correlates it to.
So today is for action, so I'd entertain a motion.
I move that we accept the juvenile crime prevention IGA number 11078 as presented.
I'll second the motion. Motion's been made, excuse me, made and seconded to accept the agreement number 11078 as mentioned. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Our next item is Department of Corrections IGA number 5466. That's also you, Jake.
Last week at the local public safety coordinating council meeting, we reviewed our state plan and our state budget, and it was approved through lip sync. We're just requesting lip sync, as lip sync chair and community corrections director, we're requesting that the board approve that plan for forwarding on to Department of Corrections. As you can see, the number is quite large, just over $2.2 million for 2 years. That's due to a lot of due diligence on our department's behalf. We weren't spending money, which is a good thing, not knowing the state of the union. But then at the same time, it shows we have some money to spend. So we've become creative. If you review the plan, we've become creative and bumped up some dollars, inflated some dollars, so we could try and get more services and more programs out to our clients. We also obtained a grant from the Criminal Justice Commission for Drug Court, about $160,000 grant. So that's also included in there, in that budget, as well as our $170,000 grant for justice reinvestment. So about a $350,000 in there that's grants.
Over a 2-year buy.
For a 2-year buy.
And does this trigger the resolution into the budget or anything as unanticipated revenue, or where do we come out?
I think we need to watch throughout the fiscal year and see if he needs more authority for spending, and then do the resolution at that time.
Okay.
Because when I created my county budget, we went with the governor's proposed budget. I went with the governor's recommended budget. We came in, statewide, we came in about $35 million more than that, more than the governor's recommended budget. So we got a little bit more money, not a lot, but a little bit. So I've talked with Ann, and our plan is to just move that to contingency, to hold over to see where we need to move that around to, if I need to.
Okay.
I'm good with it. He explained it well, and that lip sync meeting last Thursday.
Yeah, we went through line by line.
Comfortable with it?
Yep.
I'll make a motion that we accept the State of Oregon, Lake County Intergovernmental Agreement number 5466.
I'll second the motion. Motion's been made and seconded to enter into agreement number 5466 with State of Oregon and Lake County. Any further discussion?
Just note that it's for a 2-year biennium.
2-year biennium.
And for 2 years, it's roughly just shy of 2.3 million. This for 2 years.
Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
There is a signature on that for, not myself, but the Board of Commissioners, somebody from the Board of Commissioners generally signs that.
Okay.
So when that's signed, if I could get a copy, so I can forward it on to Department of Corrections. Hopefully today, because I'll be down there tomorrow.
You'll like all these products.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, so moving down our agenda, Jake, you comfortable? Go ahead and do your 9:10, or do you want to wait 2 more minutes?
Yeah.
Is everybody here that's going to make it, you believe?
I think so.
Okay, we're a minute and a half early. We'll go ahead with our 9:10. Jake Greer, ladies.
This is the employee recognition. That's coming up. This is the time to recognize Zach Hall. We were able to hire Zach away from Warner Creek Correctional Facility in 2015, at the time County Nash was retiring. Since that time, Zach's been to the academy, DPSST. He graduated from the academy his firearms week and was able to obtain his certification. So he is now certified as a parole and probation officer in the state of Oregon in April of this year. And that's a huge accomplishment. And Zach understood when he took the job, he had some pretty huge shoes to fill because Connie's been here for a lifetime and knew everything about everybody. So, and Zach's been able to pick up or carry off where Connie left off. His knowledge and experience in the prison setting, as well as his ability to grasp the concepts that we're trying to influence our clients on has been huge. His sense of humor and his morality he brings to the table has been beneficial for our office as well as our stakeholders and our public safety partners. So just wanted to take some time this morning to recognize Zach for his certification and his academy graduation.
Can you elaborate a little bit on the academy and the acronym DPSST?
DPSST is the Department of Public Safety Standards and Training, where public safety officials, corrections, law enforcement, home probation, telecommunicators, security collective, are required to go to obtain their certification. Zach attended the 5-week academy in class and then another week for firearms. So he was there for 6 weeks.
And you raised A pluses on every test, right?
Yes. He did. He came back with about a 92 average.
Excellent.
And I think the whole class was about a 91 average, so Zach was just a little bit better than the class average, which is great. It's great.
Thank you, Zach. Appreciate it very much. Appreciate your dedication to Lake County. Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Congratulations. Thank you, sir.
Zach, you have anything you want to say?
No, thanks.
Get done as fast as you can, huh, Zach? All right, so Jake, I think we got all of yours, didn't we? Next up, we will move on to the ODBA grant application recommendation. And I'm going to take just a second while people.
I can start
Thank
here.
you.
His first.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so the voters passed funding last fall that increased veteran services dollars through lottery income. At the time of our budget, we weren't sure what that amount would be, so we budgeted kind of status quo. Now that the state has passed their budget, we've been informed that we will get an additional $40,100 this fiscal year for veteran services in our county. So we have two things that need to happen with this additional funding. The first is to decide what's the best use so that we can budget in appropriate categories. Charlie is recommending a vehicle purchase, increased training funding, and then a small amount toward part-time help this first year. It's important to understand that this is legislative funding, voter approved. It's not by the budget process through the state. So this amount of funding should stay in place going into the future as far as we know.
And it was for general services, wasn't specific to any targets?
Correct. It was for general veteran services operations, but the legislative intent was to, I want to say this, how they stated it. The legislative intent with the funding was that it expanded and enhanced the local resources that the counties already invested in veteran services in their counties. So they're kind of getting to the fact they don't want to see people supplanting county funds with this new state dollars. So it's to increase, expand, enhance what we're already doing. I think Charlie had some conference calls that made that supplanting language even more clear.
Yes, it did.
So.
Sort of like absolutely not.
Like that, yeah.
So that the budget and the application for funding just asks that we submit a total of what we will expend. So they just ask for a budget expenditure, which includes the additional state funding. It brings the veteran services budget to $127,000, $283,000. Then the second item would be incorporating it in our budget with resolution number 2017-05, if you agree with the way Charlie's recommending to expend those dollars.
And that resolution for unanticipated funds, what was 10%?
right, the reason we can do this just on a resolution is its specific purpose, and unknown at the time of the budget. So it's specific for veterans operations, and can be done this way on a resolution.
So tell us again what your anticipated use of the funds would be.
For vehicle, well, to have a dedicated vehicle for all the travel that we do. And having a part-time admin specialist would be beneficial. That way somebody can take care of the office on the days that I do enhance or expansions through the county, the outreach. And there's a lot of duties that they can do. And that would be like assisting me to set up events. A lot of admin work needs to be done. There's a lot of new changes that came out because we're all going digitized. So there's at least, I bet, 3 to 4 years worth of work just right there on digitizing everything. And then when it comes to special events, we're going to enhance even more and start targeting veterans that are out in the population that still don't know that we're here, even though we advertise all the time. And we're getting them all the time. Just recently, we're starting to see a more influx of veterans, the Gulf War veterans from 1990 on. That's all Gulf War. And they're now seeing all the types of medical benefits that are needed for their conditions, especially with all the undiagnosed illnesses that's coming out. So yeah, I think these dollars are really going to be beneficial for our outreach.
On the vehicle, you currently use this your own personal vehicle substantially, and some of the county pool equipment.
Right, I use both at this time.
So this vehicle would be
Would be a dedicated vehicle.
dedicated.
So Charlie, going through here, you have the part-time staff, $6,100 in addition. You have $2,500 or $2,000 up to $2,500 for training. And then the vehicle, materials and services went up $2,000. Is that enough to cover the added cost of having a vehicle? Is that where you put on materials and services for maintenance and everything of the vehicle? Because this is going to be a dedicated vehicle to that fund, correct? So you will be taking care of.
I will be taking care of all that through that funding.
And so,
And then we're going to, and then, because we don't know, I mean, we know how many miles we're going to put in a year, basically by going by what Denise lets me use on the vehicles. I can figure out the mileage. Some of that money is actually going to be, what do they call that? We're going to put it in a pot to save it for when we have to trade in our vehicle to purchase another vehicle. So some of those monies will go in there too.
So that might be the
do the
next
reserve next
fiscal.
year.
The next year.
fiscal year, yeah.
The thing is, this current year, instead of paying Charlie mileage for using his own vehicle, that money will be available for fuel, for maintenance and things like that. So, yeah, it'll be a,
You're comfortable where you're at?
Right now,
That
yes.
doesn't-
I think we'll
okay.
be fine.
That's
A big
where I
test,
was
it'll
going.
be trial, for the first year, and then we'll see more next year.
Okay. And jumping ahead, like you was just talking about, starting to build a reserve for replacement of the vehicle in 5 to 10 years, you have to find out if you're able to dedicate dollars in a reserve of these monies, or if they have to be on the ground for services. And so that's yet to be known until next year.
Until next year.
Okay,
I'm good.
all right.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to accept resolution number 2017-05 in the matter of unanticipated revenue.
I'll second the motion.
Motion's been made and seconded, as stated. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And is that all we need for this?
yeah. The letter is, from ODVA, is addressed to our Commissioner Chair, and so the application for funding is over Commissioner Chair Dan Shown's name. So I don't know if you want to make a motion to provide him with the authority to sign this application for funding.
The sort of lost me there a little bit on the letter.
The county application for ODVA funds was addressed to Dan Shown, Commissioner Chair,
Okay.
and so the application going back is over his name. So I don't know if you need to
We
do a
should need
motion.
to do a motion for, he has that authority as the chair,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
I'm good. Consensus. We'll
Okay.
cover it by consensus. How's
Sounds
that
good.
sound?
Okay,
It's not a big deal. Even
That's what
the
lost me.
vice chair can sign it.
okay,
right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we have, thank you, sir. Meeting minutes, and I believe I was absent from the last meeting. Was there any minutes approved at the last meeting? So
And
we
the only
have,
set we could approve today is July 26th, so I don't know if we want to just postpone on those.
well,
Commissioner Kestner was going on 2 of them, we were going on 1.
okay, so well, let's do the 26th, get it out of the way.
Okay.
I'll move to approve July 26 minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right. We still have a few minutes till the 9:30. Bert, is 10 minutes enough time for you to do public comment?
Well, yes,
Okay.
I can do that.
Welcome and come on up, sir.
This is a continuation of, since May, of the speed problem on S Street. I sent each of you a email over the weekend addressing it because the website was not current in showing whether it was a meeting, so for this week. So based on that, I was late getting my email talked to you, and that's why I am here today. I assume you had time to read that email?
I did, Bert, yes.
And I know Ken did, because that's how I found out that there was going to be a meeting. I called Ken on the weekend of what's going on with your commissioners' meetings. But anyway, sum this up since you read the email. Our last meeting, what was it, 2nd of August, I was in here. It came up through the discussions that Ken brought out that there's an ORS, Commissioner Kestner, sorry, that there's an ORS stating that the commissioners are responsible for safety in the county of their roads and following their jurisdiction. Well, Commissioner Shaw immediately turned to Commissioner Kestner to get with the sheriff without any guidance. What was Ken supposed to present to the sheriff to resolve this problem? Well, I got to think about it, went and looked on the website and saw that Mr. Shawn is the liaison to the road department. He did not disclose that here. So with that said, in my letter, I gave some recommendations for about the 3rd or 4th time. And one primary is the easiest fix is some stop signs. So my reason being here is to ask commissioners to take up what you're going to do, get it resolved. This has been going on since May. Either tell the roadmaster that he will put some signs up since he works for you folks, or speed bumps, or whatever you're going to do, or give the sheriff additional money. But I'm here asking you to work together, come up with a resolution, and make it happen today after this.
Okay, well, Bert,
That's all.
couple things, you make a very good point. We need to get it addressed, and if it stays the way it is, it stays the way it is, or if there's a stop sign or there's a speed bump or whatever, come to the conclusion you've been asking about. All of our roads, our roadmaster is the road official by statute, which
No, excuse me. You folks by ORS are responsible for, could you state?
Basically, the ORS just states that we are the authority and then we hire a road official to implement for us.
So since
And
you are the authority,
we
you're telling
definitely,
him.
definitely the roadmaster works for us, absolutely, I agree with that. He is also the road official by statute,
Mhm.
and working together with the sheriff, the road official, and the board of commissioners, we should be able to come to a resolution on what the problem is. Generally, and I will have to check back into this because it's been a little while, Bert, all of our roads and everything, we ask for a study by the state. We follow the state guidelines. So whether it's speed bump, stop signs, and those things, a lot of times that's what we'll ask. We've done that on other roads throughout the county. So that could be part of the resolution, is to bring the right players to the table, have the evaluation done, take into consideration what you brought forward, if it fits within the authority of the road official and everything. But yes, I agree with you, it's time to get a resolution.
Appreciate it, and if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. Way I read the ORS further down, it pretty much states that you can make changes without going to the state. But again, that's where you'll have to look at and.
You know, Bert, I think that's something new to me that we probably should check into, have our legal counsel advise us if the ORS says that we have the authority to go out there and do that.
And I don't care what it is, just something, school's going to be starting here in the next couple of weeks.
Do you have the ORS number? And it might have been stated, it might have been stated.
810.
It's in your letter, isn't it? If it's not.
No, I did not.
Would you
But
mind,
it's
would you
810.
mind emailing that? Oh,
Sure.
you got it? You're the one that researched it, Ken, and found it?
Yeah.
Ken researched it? Okay.
Well, he knew.
So what did you find out? So you're saying we have the authority to do it, Ken?
The county is the authority for our roads.
Right.
Then we hire a road official. On what septic is, safety. So it first came, and of course I talked to the sheriff. Sheriff is, we are the ultimate authority for public safety, and the sheriff implements according to his. And he just doesn't have the manpower to vote. So I think what Bert's asking is, there's two avenues. One's the sheriff, one is the road department itself, since it is county road. So I think you're asking for us to, if the sheriff cannot devote a person full-time or part-time, then is there something we can do with the road itself and direct our road superintendent to do such? As far as,
I'm just trying to figure out,
Yeah.
I haven't read the RS, but if you're the one that researched it and found this, you have a full understanding of it?
I don't, I did, Bert asked me which authority, so I researched and gave it to him. I needed backstage it too.
Okay. But you have the number, so I can, okay.
But basically, it says we're the authority, so we need to address what constitutes that authority for directing our, whether through the state steady, or do we have, as you brought up, do we have alternative to go outside of what the state standard recommendation is?
Okay.
Okay, so appreciate it.
It's been on the table for a long time. It's very good.
The Board of Commissioners need to bring the players to the table and get it resolved.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And Dan Chown is the liaison with the road department, so we'll let him be the lead.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Bert, for your time. All right,
Getting close, Suzanne.
yeah.
Yeah, good.
We have you on at 9:30. We have like a minute and a half. Are you anticipating anybody else coming here? Maybe I better wait that extra minute and a half in case anybody from the public is coming.
Okay.
Commissioner Schown, are you calling him?
I'll let him know to call in.
All right. Thank you. So we're waiting on.
If you're going to wait 1 minute, I'm going to take a walk and get the lift going in my legs like 2 legs.
Okay, so we're going to take a short recess. We'll come back